Quick question. Hat or no hat? What do you prefer? As things continue on with this whole Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, now everybody else on the freaking planet getting involved thing, I have to start asking myself, does the West want nuclear war? So you have certain countries around the world like the US, the UK, and several others who are freezing assets, taking property, stealing the property of people who just happen to be citizens of Russia, and they're saying that they're trying to punish or put pressure on Vladimir Putin without thinking the obvious, which is one, Putin's the guy who ordered the invasion into Ukraine, and two, he probably doesn't care what these people think, so you're just stealing stuff. You're just stealing. You're a thief. It's what assholes do. Then we have people saying that any Russian students who happen to be in the United States going to college need to be immediately booted out and no questions asked. Not really big on that idea either, because there's a funny thing about the school system. I know some people from Russia who came to the United States. They had college degrees where they were teaching university courses in Russia, but when they came here, we don't acknowledge their level of education. So they're stuck doing like all kinds of like shit jobs. And that's not their fault. That's pretty much us. So I would have to think that if somebody is going to school here, they're not planning on going back to Russia. They're not going to fly back over and go, "Hey, I got this degree in lesbian dance theory," and the Russians are going to be like, "We don't need you. Get your ass in the kitchen," or salt mines, or Siberia. I don't know. What do they do with lesbian dance theory professors? Also, Google shut off their Google Pay thing, which means that Russian citizens can no longer easily get access to subways and trains and pay for things. And yeah, that's not cool. I don't remember them doing anything. So, and it also appears that a lot of the soldiers who are being sent in the Ukraine don't exactly like being there, or they don't agree with the mission. And it seems like we are just punishing the wrong people. And while all this is happening, we have Biden telling us the American people have no reason to worry about the possible threat of nuclear war happening, which means we should definitely be worried of the possibility of nuclear war happening. Putin has his family in an underground city in Siberia. That's a thing that happened. So obviously Putin's like, yeah, we're on high alert, and by the way, take the missus and the kiddos and put them in that installation so that nothing happens to them. Nothing to worry about there. And then we had a scheduled, yeah, so that means Russia and everybody else knew about it, ICBM missile launch that was supposed to happen sometime this week. And that was canceled in fear it might start World War III. Weird. But we have nothing to worry about. Hey, nothing to see here. Don't look behind the curtain. Meanwhile, it appears that Belarus is now involved in the fight, but they're not. The Ukraine says they are, but the US says that they're not. Belarus is like, yeah, we're involved, and then other officials say, no, we're not. So who knows? Ukraine's saying that they have Belarusian. Is that the word? soldiers who cross the border, and they're, yeah. I don't know who to believe on any of this crap. All I know is, for some reason, Putin Putin decided to go into Ukraine. And it turns out that him and China did this is a weird thing that our government loves to lie to us about. We're being told that there's no cooperation. The Chinese and the Russians don't like each other. First of all, they're both communists. Second of all, yeah, they might have spats about like whose communism is the real communism, but at the same time, both of them can sit down and agree, like, yeah, we don't like the United States. So, when ask women about this, when two people who don't like you are in the same room, even though they don't like each other, they will still talk shit about you. It's the truth. So, yeah, Russia, China, they have their own little sewing circle over in Asia, and at some point they got together several times to make sure that when this stuff happens, they're okay. And not only did China give Russia information that we shared with them, China went to Russia and said, hey, you know that whole invading Ukraine thing that you talked about? Could you wait to do that until after we have the Olympics? It's kind of a big deal for us. Really? You will? Oh, that is awesome. How nice of you. How can we repay you? So that is something that we need to consider. Russia did them a favor. And in those cultures, those favors come at a cost. So in exchange, Russia is also expecting something. You know, they did China a solid. China is now obligated in order to return the favor at some point. And this is the stuff that was not discussed during the State of the Union. These are the things that were overlooked. And for some reason, Joe Biden still, at least what he said the other day, thinks that China is an ally. They're a trade partner. That is it. And the whole point of trade is to make sure that you get a better deal than the person that you are buying and or selling from. So they know that they have been royally screwing us since the 90s. And they're going to continue to do that. One day, they had to scramble fighter jets in order to get China out of their airspace. Yeah, that Taiwan. So it looks like China's getting ready to roll into Taiwan. Or fly in, boat in. Flying or boating, one of the two. So that leads me to my final question and theory on all of this. So it's obvious to me that the West wants a nuclear war. What that entails, I don't know. But I would not be surprised if there were certain places that were hit. Martial law is called into play. People are rounded up. It's for your safety. Nuclear, blah, blah, blah. Could this all be part of the Great Reset? The other day I came across a video on YouTube that was about the truths and myths of nuclear war. And in it, they talked about two documentaries. One was about a guy who survived not just Hiroshima, but also Nagasaki. And then there was another documentary where it turned out he's not the only person to survive both nuclear blasts. There was 165 others that somehow happened to be in both cities at the time of their detonations, and they survived, and they lived to tell the tale. And so maybe, fingers crossed, what Hollywood has shown us about nuclear events is not as accurate as reality. So we can always hope. Still not something I want to go through, and I really wish that these children that we elected allegedly into power stop playing around with little red buttons in their offices. That'd be awesome. Please stop doing that. Keep on typing.